Galnet News, keeping your galaxy in focus. 17th of August, 3301. To our dearest viewers, the Galnet News team would like to extend our most sincere apologies. It has been far too long since we've actually kept your galaxy in focus. As you may know, in recent times, the political front among our inhabited systems has heated up quite significantly. The disappearance of President Halsey and the assassination of Emperor Duval, among other scandals and skirmishes, has seen even your loyal anchors doing their part in their respective factions' power struggle. We are eternally impartial to the news we deliver, but have kept busy on the front of our federal, imperial, allied, and independent leaders' wishes. Many of our anchors are in fact missing in action. Some may have been injured in dogfights, or have been taken hostage by pirates without prejudice. But even in these times of blight, we will continue to try and keep your galaxy in focus. Before I continue to our top stories, on the behalf of the Galnet News team, I'd like to share a quote that has been passed down since the dawn of space travel to honor our fallen comrades and those who make it possible to live our lives the way we do. We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye, and slipped the surly bonds of Earth to touch the face of God. Thank you. And now, our top stories. Slaves rescued from the Kumo crew. New conspiracy surrounding the disappearance of President Halsey. Imperial Inquisition and Emperor's Grace to hold meeting. Princess Duval's security is reassessed. And assassin's family of the late Emperor Duvall is brutally murdered. And now, from our headlining story, reports are coming in from the Pegasi sector of scores of marked slaves being rescued by Imperial commanders participating in the United Offensive. Acting in concert with members of the Sirius Corporation, Imperial commanders are carefully extracting human cargo from Kumo crew vessels. The cargo is then delivered to Sirius Corp commanders who fly them to safety for relocation. Unconfirmed rumors indicate that members of the Utopians are also joining the rescue and relocation efforts. Spokesmen for the Kumo crew have vehemently denied that marked slaves are anything but common criminals and degenerates, but one prominent case has received coverage on media circuits. Known only by her first name, former slave Asha has become the face of the United Offensive. Ashlyn originally entered a 2-year Imperial slavery contract as part of the Quivira settlement with the Silver Universal PLC. "I thought it was the right thing to do," said Asha. "I was a trained mechanical engineer and could fetch a shorter term than anyone else in my family. The pirates said that's what made me so valuable." Imperial Slavers Associated reiterated its previously stated opposition to transporting slaves outside the Empire. They added that any Imperial slave rescued from the Kumo crew, or any violation of their terms of service agreement, would result in that slave's contract being rendered null and void. "I don't know the commander who saved me," a tearful Asha explained, "but I am so thankful to them, and the friendly folks at Sirius who helped me get to the relocation authority on Munchin." And in federal presidential news, the specter of President Halsey's disappearance in Starship One refuses to die down. Despite the findings of the official report, some claim that the matter is far from closed. One such person is the self-proclaimed conspiracy expert Ricardo Bentonio. On his investigative show, The Hidden World, he states,
"They took her for their own purposes, not the lizard people from Andromeda. That's the Imperial dynasty. She's been taken somewhere different."
Federal Navy officials have refused to comment on this allegation. One congressman was overheard joking, "Does anyone listen to that loon's shows?" Except his precious lizard people from Andromeda, of course. And more from the Empire. Mavia Kane, the High Inquisitor and leader of the Imperial Inquisition, is scheduled to pay a visit to Admiral Varwin Mako Brennis, leader of Emperor's Grace. The meeting will be held in the Emperor's Grace stronghold of Rishair in Lindblad Port. Both leaders will discuss a number of Imperial issues, including the assassination of Emperor Duval and the present military operations in the Pegasi sector. Rumors about the group's cooperation have been circulating since the start of the United Imperial Offensive in the Pegasi sector. Both factions are presently engaged in a peacekeeping operation against the Kumo crew, which began when Archon Delane illegally invaded Imperial space and took Imperial citizens into slavery. Emperor's Grace and Imperial Inquisition pilots are fighting together against this notorious crime lord, as both groups see him as a threat to galactic peace. Sources close to Admiral Brennus revealed that the factions share the same traditional Imperial values. A senior official noted that, "We both care about the Empire, the Imperial way of life, and Imperial citizens. We are natural allies. The Empire is going through tough times. We need to support each other." And continuing from the Empire, the personal security for Princess Ashlyn Duvall is under review as yet another private conversation has been leaked to the press. Considering the content of the leaked recording, some commentators have suggested that the princess would be better served by being more circumspect in what she says. Much of the audio is indistinguishable, but at one stage, Ashlyn can be heard saying, quote, "Denton would never do something like this. He's far too uptight and straight-laced. Besides, he's a nobody now. That Lavini bitch. She'll get the sympathy vote from this, and she knows it." End quote. A spokeswoman for Princess Duval stated, "This is clearly a fake intended to discredit the princess. To think that someone would stoop to this type of low politics in our time of grief is repulsive." And finally, the immediate family of Brendan Paul Darius, including his mother, father, sister, and 6-year-old niece, have been found murdered at their home on Eotensis. Inspector Reeve commented to local press that these were the most horrific deaths he had ever encountered in his many years of service. After the murderer of Emperor Hengist Duval was revealed to be Imperial citizen Brendan Paul Darius, a light protection duty was placed with his family in case of reprisals. Although locals were sympathetic to the family's dishonor, rather than blaming them. Inspector Reeve didn't comment on how the killers were able to subdue the guards, even though no fatalities in the team have been reported. The inspector promised swift justice for the murderers and called on anyone with any information to contact their local security office. And that's the Galnet news for today. This has been Chip Washington. Tune in next time to keep your galaxy in focus.